Hello everyone, how's it going today? So, after it's been about a week and a half since the NHL trade deadline, I'm gonna give you my thoughts and opinions about who really won the deadline, who definitely lost the deadline, and yeah, just kind of give you my all around thoughts. We're just gonna kind of go through the big trades, so um, this Vincent Praplan guy for future considerations we won't go over. Um, so with we're gonna start here with the Jackets and the Senators trade. The Senators trade Matt Duchene, Julius Bergman, for Arbomov, Davidson, a first and a conditional first. Personally, Duchene, steal. Uh, well, not really a steal. Great, he's playing great in Columbus for sure. He's been one of their best players for most nights. Bergman, he'll be a nice future piece. Especially if like Duchesne, Panarin, Bobrovsky, Zingle, all those guys don't actually resign. Um, they definitely loaded up for this year's playoffs, and currently it's not looking so hot. Um, so for skill wise, the Jackets they win this, but future wise, the Senators actually did a good trade for once. Especially if Duchesne does resign or something, then two firsts for Duchesne. How could you say no? Honestly, like I would have done two firsts for the guy. Like he's a great player, but honestly, I probably would have done maybe a first and a second round pick to be honest, and then a couple prospects, but not two firsts. So yeah, so honestly, that's probably a fair trade in my mind right now. Next, we're gonna go on to the Capitals and the Red Wings. They traded Bowie for Jensen, second round pick going to the Wings for a fifth going to the Capitals. Um, Personally, Jensen, um, he's like a middle pairing, bottom pairing guy. Um, not really, not really a ton to be honest. Like he's a solid guy for sure, definitely an NHLer. But the Red Wings gave Madison Bowie, I believe he's 23 years old. He still has tons of potential, and they get a second round pick on top of that. Um, Personally, the Wings win this one 100%. I'm not going to go too much into detail with this one, but Wings 100%. We'll skip this Ben Lovejoy one. Matt Zuccarello. It would have been the Stars definitely would have won this trade if he had not gotten hurt in the first game. I believe he was like a +3, had a goal and an assist. He's just playing lights out for the Stars. Um, but yeah, at this point, this trade's now kind of irrelevant because it's two conditional picks, and Zuccarello hasn't played more than two periods because he's been hurt. Um, Now on to the Dzingel trade. Dzingel, definitely a great player. Definitely coming up. I think he has like 20 something goals already. Definitely on pace for a career high in points. For Anthony Duclair, who is a great prospect, um, but he's yet to actually prove himself of being worthy of like top 6 minutes because that's kind of the potential he has. You've seen flashes of it, but I don't know. It's hit or miss. 2 seconds, so get that for Dzingel. Yeah, okay. Personally, that's an even trade, hands down. I don't mind that trade at all. Well, I guess the Montador Gooley trade. Montador's looked really good for the Sabres in the few games I've watched them. And Gooley, yeah, it's the Ducks. They're not doing so hot, but with a conditional first round pick, I like it. I do like it. So again, I'm gonna say about an even trade. Gustav Nyquist for a second and a third round pick. You know, I the Sharks, they're definitely loading up for the big playoff run for Jumbo Joe. I like this move by them. The Red Wings, they're big rebuilders right now. Not a whole lot going on over there, so I like this move for them. I also like this move for the Sharks. Again, not gonna go too much into it. Um, I like it for both sides, so fair deal for me. Kevin Hayes for Lemieux, a first and a fourth. Personally, I don't know too much about Kevin Hayes. He is a very good player, so it definitely does help the Jets strengthen their center core with now a center core of Shifley, Little, Hayes, and Lowry. Um, that is a pretty beefy center core. Most of them are over like 6'3", 6'4" as well. Um, I know Hayes is 6'5", Lowry's I think 6'4". Um, then Little's on the smaller end, but I believe Shifley's kind of in the 6'2" range as well. So definitely pretty intimidating center core. All four can play first to fourth line. Um, like you can move them around whatever way you want. That is, and then on power play, just deadly. So Rangers as well, rebuilding. Um, really not too much going on there. The Jets, they've been contenders for like the last 3 years, so definitely a nice pickup on their part. So again, I'm gonna go fair trade. Um, let's see here. Derek Brassard and for a third. Brassard's been having a pretty crap year to be honest this year. He hasn't really done too much. I mean, he did score, I believe, in his Colorado Avalanche debut against his Florida Panthers team. So that was pretty cool. But at this point, it's third for Derek Brassard, who's kind of underperforming. Colorado, it just kind of helps them for their playoff push. Fair trade, in my opinion. Adam McQuaid, I don't. He's just a big bruising defenseman again. Blue Jackets are trying to load up, but it's not working so hot for them. That's for sure. Julius Bergman, fourth and a seventh. Honestly, I'm surprised they didn't just get a seventh for him. So Rangers, good job. Here is one of the bigger trades, and personally, um, one of the winners, I believe. The Predators get Michael Granlund for Kevin Fiala. Don't get me wrong, Kevin Fiala, he's a great player. Like he's definitely a solid second, third line guy for sure. But Granlund, he's one of those bona fide first liners, second line players. He's on pace for I believe another like 65-point campaign for like the third straight year. Fiala is going to be lucky if he hits 40, 50 points again. Um, Now, don't get me wrong, the Wild are probably going to be in the playoffs. I'm thinking they'll catch one of the final wild card spots. So Fiala will help as he is a proven playoff guy, which is definitely what they need because they do struggle in the playoffs. Um, but the Predators loading up with Granlund, that just makes their forward core that much scarier. The biggest trade of the day, Mark Stone for Tobias Lindbergh for Eric Brandstrom, Oscar Lindbergh, and a second round pick coming from Dallas. So with that, I believe Vegas signed him to I think it's like 6 or 8 years, 9 mil per or something crazy like that. So Vegas is actually building their team the right way. They're getting guys in trades, then they're signing them to long-term deals, so they don't have to worry about it. They'll be able to keep them for long periods of time. Um, they really only gave up Eric Brandstrom. I'm not a big fan of that because Eric Brandstrom is such an elite prospect. But again, you get Mark Stone, a guy who's proven 30 goal scorer, 70 points. Vegas is going to definitely in for another deep playoff run this year. And Ottawa, they get their future Eric Carlson again and a second round pick on top of that. So personally, it's definitely an even trade. Right now, Vegas wins it, but probably 5, 6 years down the road, we'll look back at this and be like, okay, this was a fair trade. Um, Everybody's like, oh, how did they only get a second? You're forgetting how good Eric Brandstrom is. Like, he's pretty unreal, to be honest. And again, Nashville, getting Wayne Simmons for the Flyers for Ryan Hartman in a fourth. Personally, Wayne Simmons, he's definitely a quality second line player. He's that type of guy you need in the playoffs. Plays that tough hockey, um, grindier style. Definitely gets in the corners. Definitely will get under your skin. I think that's something Nashville's actually kind of missed. Um, and one of the reasons they couldn't make it back all the way to the finals. They're definitely one of the best teams in the West. Personally, they got great goaltending, unreal defense, and now they just loaded up on forward, and they are honestly one of the scarier teams. Flyers get back Ryan Hartman and a conditional fourth. Um, I say Nashville wins this trade. Sure, Ryan Hartman's good, um, but I don't believe he's nearly as good as Wayne Simmons. He's I guess he's just a younger version of Wayne Simmons, which is something the Flyers desperately are going to need. Um, but yeah, Predators hands down win this. Del Zaster goes to the Blues from the Ducks. Minor trade, doesn't really matter. Um, he's looked good actually with the Blues so far. I think he's played like 1 or 2 games, but it's been a healthy scratch ever since. But he's looked fine there so far. Marcus Johansson for second and fourth. Bruins as well, loading up for that big playoff push. So props to them. I actually like Marcus Johansson. Um, Personally, second and a fourth. This is a fair trade going both ways. Let's see what else. Matt Hendricks for seventh. Um, yeah, can't really say too much. Hendricks is just kind of there, I guess, for a nice fourth line spot. In case for playoffs, someone gets hurt or they need some more grit. Don't know really what, but you know, I'll give it to the Jets on this one. Matt Hendricks, I believe he's worth more than seventh. I think it'd be more like a sixth round pick maybe, or at least 2 sevenths because he's a great defensive hockey player, that's for sure. Um, Here's my favorite trade of the day, as I am a Canucks fan. We got rid of Eric Branson's contract, taking on Tanner Pearson. Um, Relatively, they're actually the same contract, but Tanner Pierce is just having a really off year. He's a proven 40, 50 point guy. And in the couple of games that he's played unreal. He's looking like the Tanner Pearson of old, that's for sure. Eric Branson definitely helps out the Penguins in the end. Uh, he's thrown a couple big hits already. Definitely started some controversy in Pittsburgh. Uh, but yeah, no, I believe honestly this is a good trade for both sides. The Penguins have been missing some size for the playoffs. That's why they went and got Ryan Reeves 2 years ago. Dished him right to Vegas. Just it was a big, yeah. So at least they have some size this year for the playoffs. Help out Crosby. Pearson, if he gets back to his old ways, which he's looking like he is, this will be a steal for Vancouver fans. Um, Jonathan Dahlin for Linus Carlson. Dahlin's 21. He's actually been performing pretty well, but he is a center. Again, he with all the center depth that Vancouver has right now, I don't I see this trade working out for them. Linus Carlson plays in that junior A league in Sweden. Sorry. Um, just like uh, Dolan used to do. Um, he is, I believe, just turned 19, where Dolan's almost 22. So there's a couple years difference. So, um, yeah, personally, I like this trade for both sides. The Sharks get a young up and coming center, where the Canucks get a nice up and coming winger. Um, let's see, and I guess that is all the trades. I guess we go over this Nick Patan trade, but really, it's Nick Patan. He hasn't turned out. He's been bounced around teams like crazy. Or no, not Nick Patan. Sorry, I'm thinking of Nick Paul because I thought he was with the Senators for some reason. But yeah, so just a minor league deal. But yeah, so that is the end. That is my thoughts on the trade deadline. Um, quick review of it. Who do I think won? Personally, Nashville, as of right now. Um, who do I think lost? I would say the Jackets. The Blue Jackets lost. Regardless, they got some really good players, but at this point, they're struggling, and I don't know if they're gonna actually make the playoffs. So if they don't make the playoffs, and they gave up like all these first round picks and all these seconds and all these prospects, and then everyone leaves in the off season. Well, good luck for the next 10 years, Jackets fans.